Well, I told them last time, fuck y'all and y'all feelings. I'm joking. I love y'all. Everything I do is for y'all. Okay. So y'all, welcome to the Unicorn Straight No Chaser podcast. We don't got nobody in the room right now. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about mental health as usual. Today's topic is going to be addiction. I'm going to give you a little facts, and then I'm also going to give you some crackhead stories. Now, listen, I know it's a serious topic, but everybody knows a crackhead, okay? And everybody has a crackhead story, okay? Then Tokyo is going to follow it up. She's doing a 3-part series on BDSM, so you want to stick around for that. Tony is going to discuss some more serious topics. We're going to talk about that State 48 bullshit, Summer Walker, Palestine, however you want to pronounce it. Then we're going to get into some reels and rants, some TV trailers and movies. So y'all stick around for that other stuff, okay? Whose shirt is that? Oh, Dexter. They said your shirt is amazing.
Thank you.
I don't know whoever Facebook user is. Somebody is incognito. Who you hiding from?
Incognito.
Look, you got no profile pic and it just say Facebook user. I don't know who that is, but thank you very much. Anyway, this is the last show we're going to do for Mental Health Month. You know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so we're going to wrap this up talking about addiction and how addiction and mental health issues go hand in hand. Most people who have mental health illness, a mental health issue, I should say, I think at some point or time probably, played around with some type of drug, whether it's smoking weed, taking pills, coke or something like that.
Self-medicate.
Yeah, because they want to self-medicate. Depression, anxiety. I know for a fact, I know many people who have anxiety, and they definitely smoke to try to help deal with the anxiety. I've tried it because I have anxiety. I've tried it because I have anxiety, but me and smoking don't get along. I'd rather have a heavy pour. But I can't walk around drunk all day. So there you go. Personally, I know for a fact, like my mother has mental health issues, and she definitely was on drugs for most of her life. I don't really have contact with her now, so I can't say whether she's sober or clean, but I know that majority of her life she was using drugs. And the truth of the matter is her having a substance abuse issue hid the fact that she had a mental health issue. So a lot of people who do have that comorbid diagnosis, and that's a dual diagnosis where you have a substance abuse disorder and a mental health issue, some people don't know what came first. Like, it's the chicken or the egg. You on drugs and that triggered a mental health issue, or did you have a mental health issue and you started using drugs to cope with that? It's not a lot of research out there. It is really hard to separate the two. Some people do look at substance abuse as a mental health issue. Some people look at it as a disease. Me and Tokyo had a really, really, really long, heated debate about that. Not last weekend, but the weekend before that. I think she sees it as a disease. I don't see it as a disease.
You can tell you don't see this. You talk about me.
Yeah.
I can see it as a disease. I can. When people get deep enough in it.
Why?
Because addiction is serious, and to some extent, most of us is addicted to something, whether it be coffee, sugar. It's something in our lives that we cannot give up, and a lot of times we won't acknowledge it until somebody puts it in front of our face. You know what I mean? And you gotta acknowledge that there are people out there in the world that is addicted to these substances, and they truly do want to stop, but it's hard. And you know, it's a mental thing. And if we can acknowledge that, you know, people with mental illnesses, they can't control their bodies, then you gotta, you know, say like, if addiction is to an extent a mental illness, is that if that's what we're acknowledging now, because that's what we're talking about.
Right. No, I wasn't. That wasn't me.
Oh yeah,
I heard somebody upstairs.
Because that's what we're talking about during the show. Then we have to say, to some extent, maybe they can't control it.
Well, no, you can't control it once you get into the addiction, right? That I understand it. My viewpoint on it was this: a disease is something that you did not choose, in my opinion. You didn't have a choice in it. It just happened to you, right? I did not choose to have cancer. I just got cancer, okay? A drug addict made the choice to use the drug. Now, whether or not they knew how bad it was going to be, that depends on when they started using, in my opinion. But the fact of the matter is, you can't become an addict if you never take the drug in the first place.
That's why I believe, to like, how to an extent it's a disease. I believe it's a disease depending on how much money you pay, because we don't know what caused you to turn to their drug. You know what I mean?
It's a disease based. Oh, you mean whether they call it and classify it as that?
Not if they call it. I mean how much money you pay as a person. Because think about it.
Do for it?
No, think about it. If I'm rich and I have trauma and I turn to a disease and I'm self-medicating, I'm addicted to it, I have means and ways and avenues and where I can get myself up off of it. You know what I mean? If I truly choose and truly want to stop this and truly want to be better, as a rich person, you have more opportunities, more, you know, places that you can go, more like, you know, information. Meanwhile, if you're in like the hood and everything, and you don't have this money, you have to wait for a bed to open up in rehab. So that sets you back still on the street, and you still doing the same shit that you're doing. You know, you get out of rehab, you do the whole 90 days or whatever.
You can go to a hospital with detox and stuff.
You have
to, you know what I mean? You could he has to do it.
That doesn't change
whether it's a disease or not.
That doesn't change what I'm saying though. Whether you're rich or whether you're rich or you're poor, you have a choice as to whether or not you're going to indulge in that activity.
I mean, it's a lot of factors I feel like go with it. It's a lot of factors. It could be, some people are young, peer pressure, and they just do shit just because they don't.
That's still your choice,
right? But you're not doing it.
You're absolving people of consequences and responsibility. There's a consequence for your action. So you could be young and you could do something stupid. That's what I'm saying. But that doesn't interfere with your activities of daily living.
You do. Literally, people cannot function without alcohol.
No,
it's the biggest addiction in the world.
Wait.
You know that, right?
Wait.
It is an addiction.
But listen to what I'm saying. I'm not breaking in your house and stealing your TV for a cup of coffee. Let's be clear. Like y'all doing a little bit,
right? But that's an addiction, though. You gotta.
But you gotta think about how they got addicted.
I'm not addicted to coffee. I love coffee.
People become.
If I'm at work,
I'm addicted to coffee.
I'm addicted to coffee. I ain't ashamed.
But what I'm saying is, you're not going to break into.
But then you also gotta think, like, if they did get hooked on drugs young kids is fucking stupid. You know what I mean? They think they know everything, and they really don't. And they probably sitting there telling themselves, "I can eat off.
So the whole debate was, if you choose to do it, that was her whole thing.
Your choice.
You chose to do it, so it's not disease. She's pretty black and white with it. That's all. I just don't agree.
Yeah, she doesn't have to agree.
I don't agree. But I get it. I tried a lot of shit that you know what I mean.
That's what makes it. But that's what makes it the difference between it, because you had a part to play in it. You had a part to play in it. Nobody would choose to have cancer. Nobody you had a part to play in it. You cannot play victim to circumstances that you created for yourself. Let's see what our Facebook user friend said. I don't think it's a disease. Some people just have more addictive personalities than others. It becomes a dependency when it's used in excess. Weed and liquor are how I cope, and maybe I smoke a little bit too much. That's what I'm saying. You see, I think we kind of on the same page, right?
I get that.
That it is a you don't think it's a disease, neither do I. And like they said, the coffee thing, like I said, that does not affect your activities of daily living. You're not going to go, sell your body on a corner to get a cup of fucking Starbucks coffee. You get what I'm saying? So
I mean, but I was only saying it to say you can be addicted to anything. It's not just crack.
While you can be
addicted to sex, addicted to a lot of things.
Anything is when it becomes a detriment to
your
life.
I feel like it might not start off as a disease, but it can turn. I feel
like it can when it gets to the point where it's like you said, I'm about to start selling shit and breaking into people's homes. It becomes disease because it's irrational. You know what I mean?
No, that's an addiction. That's what an addiction
is. That's what I'm saying. But
it's just an addiction. Is not a disease.
But it is a disease. It's considered a disease in both. So it's considered a disease.
They also say people with autism, and I say autistic person, and autistic people prefer the other way. So
addicted people
the book doesn't mean. And you want me to listen to a crackhead?
If we listen,
because we know. I'm sorry to all the crackheads out there, but you're not going to sit here and tell me that I'm supposed to take lessons on responsibility from a crackhead.
Okay, and they the first ones to start preaching, to get a fucking soapbox to start telling you how to live your life. Like if you don't sell me no fucking batteries, I don't have no fucking conversation with you, bitch. Give me a battery. You know they always got some random ass item. You know what I mean? I got these shot glasses. Like we get no shot glasses.
No, that's true though.
Give me no damn shot glasses. You know what I mean?
That's hilarious. They do got the
random shit. So here's the thing, right? Some people do have more addictive personalities than others, and that's where we come into the gray area with the mental health issues. If you have a certain mental health issues, yes, your impulse control, your emotional self-regulation, all of that stuff will make you be more prone to use drugs and alcohol. I know that. I know that my mother was a drug addict. I know that my father was an alcoholic. I know that my mother has mental health issues. I didn't always know it, but I know it now. So having that information, which I didn't always have, but having that information, if I was to pick up a drug, I know that I am more predisposed than perhaps Tony to become addicted to that. That also plays into the part of me saying choices. Mm-hmm. I've made sure that I've told my daughters, this runs in our family. So when you go to indulge in certain things, I need you to be mindful of that. I have siblings that won't drink. They will not drink because our father was an alcoholic, and they don't want to accidentally become an alcoholic on, themselves. So I you know what I mean? There is, when you have knowledge and you choose to do otherwise, and then especially in 2021, I don't give a goddamn. Anybody that is using heroin or crack, you picking up any of these drugs in 2021, you already know what you're signing up for. So that is a disease thing. And now, do I understand that a person can be so traumatized that they don't give a damn about the risk, and they're just going to go ahead and use it anyway, or that they're impaired so much that they don't make good decisions? But I just still feel like ultimately you have to take responsibility. Mm-hmm. Bad things happen to us. People do bad things to us. You get dealt bad cards in life, and then you make decisions and choices. I have made some really fucked up decisions because I've had trauma earlier in my life, but that's on me. I can't blame anybody else. I made those decisions, and so whatever consequences came after that, I have to live with those. I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
I was. But we got past the part that I was going to say.
Well, go ahead. We can run it back.
I was just going to say, if we can say that, people have addictive personalities, then it has to be a disease, because in the part of their personality, they get addicted to a substance. And everybody isn't privy to that, their whole family genetic,
I wasn't. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know. But some people are more predisposed.
That's what I'm saying. Then
it has to be.
Then it would be a disease if we can say that, you know, it's a part of their personality, you know, their addictive personality.
I still don't see it like that. That's so you have like anger. I'm more predisposed to be angry or whatever. Okay, fine, but I'm still responsible for the shit that I do. I'm still responsible for whether I act on those things. Like I'm saying, don't absolve the person of their responsibility.
I don't absolve anybody of their responsibility. You know, I didn't say, you know, they didn't have the responsibility, but if you keep going and you don't acknowledge, which a lot of addicts don't acknowledge that they're addicts. If you keep going and don't acknowledge it, then I do eventually become a disease
so you're saying it becomes a disease
eventually, yeah.
Right. I feel like I agree with that. Like I don't think that nobody goes into a situation trying to get addicted to something. You know what I mean? Like it's not like yes they did the thing, but I didn't do it because I wanted to become a crackhead for the rest of my life. Maybe I don't know. It'd be certain crackheads is kind of weird.
So in 2020,
you be a crackhead, but like if
in 2021, you taking shrooms and
no, I'm not doing that.
No, I know. Yeah, I'm saying the people that do shit like that, and I know people that do that shit like that.
I don't think you
fuck yourself. But you know, but what I'm saying is you have knowledge that is one of the things that can happen, and you do it.
And you know, a lot of people think that they're stronger than that. Like, oh, I do it. I bet you I won't get addicted. I know people like that too. I'm gonna do it, but all week, I do it, and then just thinking.
But this is my thing. Funny. This is my thing. How many people actually use drugs that don't have some shit going on?
Well, everybody got shit going on. Everybody. I mean, but some people
using drugs for no reason.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think.
But I'm saying that don't have something going on. Like you might not have a reason. That doesn't mean that you don't have 5 cousins on your mom's side that have schizophrenia, bipolar, and strung out on heroin. You get what I'm saying? Like.
I get it. I understand. I just feel like it gotta be.
People are reckless. People
get tricked. Reckless. This is what our argument was. And people get some crackheads back in the day got tricked.
Like
that's not what I said. That's not true. But back in the day, they used to trick people.
They did.
This is why we can see that in movies. We see it all the time.
Let me tell you something. This is
why we getting off topic.
This is why
we getting off topic. That's bullshit. We get on topic, but that's bullshit. Most drug users was not tricked. They voluntarily took their shit.
We ain't saying that, but back in the day, like she said, they used to get tricked.
They used to pull some of their stuff and have people strung out.
They did.
And we argue because you disagree. You said that's not they took the weed, so it's not their problem.
I mean, what did DMX say?
That's what I'm saying.
Did DMX say he got
a little bit of weed?
How many people exist? How many people exist in the United States? How many people exist in the United States? They keep talking about DMX. One person.
I know.
And now every crackhead got tricked. Everybody.
We say the whole lot. Ain't saying nothing.
These are just the circumstances.
Everybody had a little crack sprinkled in their Rice Krispies.
We can't even have an example. We can't. Everybody.
I'm just saying there are circumstances to these situations. You have a big personality. Maybe you took something that you didn't think was that big of a deal, like weed, and you got a little trickety trick, and you became this. Or you try something. People try stuff all the time, regardless and I don't think anyone do it trying to become an addict.
Nobody tries to become an addict.
That's what I'm saying.
But you're stupid if you take it not knowing that's a possibility. That's what I'm saying. Stop sitting here acting like
I never think about I was gonna become an alcoholic and all that. I did when I took my first drink. I didn't say, I'm gonna take this. I'm about to be an addict today. I'm ready to be an addict today.
This is not illegal. This is not illegal.
You didn't say anything about being illegal drugs. You're talking about just addicts.
No, I'm saying meth and crack and all that. That's illegal. So
what
does that have to do with anything?
It's still addictive.
Weed was illegal.
Yo,
it's still a substance.
Listen,
They pro crackhead. So
I'm not pro crackhead at all.
For the
I am just saying.
They for the crackhead.
I'm not pro crackhead. I'm just saying. It has to be. I feel like it's okay to say categorize disease.
So when the crackhead steal your hubcaps, you say that
disease addicted crackhead.
I'm just saying
I'm not agreeing with it. I'm not agreeing with the people that are on drugs and continue.
You legitimately just had Rice Krispies. You better make sure there wasn't no crack in there.
You better make sure. You never know. Did you make them? I feel like you should make sure you're making them. That's all I'm saying. Be safe out there.
Did they get weed in it?
They got me all on topic.
That was the topic.
No,
we were talking about
no. We were talking about
addiction,
mental health, and addiction, and being a comorbid diagnosis. But I mean what I said about that. That's bullshit. So
thank you.
That's one of the barriers to treatment. Because you'll have people that have, induced mental health issues because, they're on drugs. And so they go in there and it's really just a substance abuse disorder. And then, they automatically think you have a mental health issue and it's really just the drugs. And that, for years, I did not think that my mother had a mental health issue. I thought she was on drugs. And once she got off the drugs, she was going to be fine. She was going to be normal. Well, after she did get clean, I noticed
she didn't change much.
I said, the bitch is still crazy. Now, y'all might be offended by me saying that, but trust me, I have my reasons, okay? So now I'm trying to figure out, well, I don't understand if you're not using the drugs, right? You should snap back right to your normal self. But the truth is, I've never known my mother not on drugs. So I don't know I never knew what that looked like to say whether she was normal or not. I just knew that even without the drugs, something wasn't right. Something was a little off. It was a miss. It wasn't until my daughter got diagnosed that I was able to put 2 and 2 together to realize that she had a mental health issue. And then not more than likely, I mean, I'll bet any little money that I have is that she always had that mental health issue. And that would be what led her to start using drugs. Because she has a personality disorder, and people with personality disorders are one of have the highest percentages of turning into using substance abuse. So that, along with people with depression and anxiety, like I said, but people with anxiety usually just smoking. I mean, smoking weed ain't hurting nobody. So when I think back on stories that she told me, when she was like 13, 12, she said she used to like drink. If her mom and dad had a party, which would be my grandmother and my grandfather, like if they had like liquor in the bottles, she would go around drink all the liquor that was in the bottle. And then, as she got older, then they were popping pills and smoking weed. And, she was of that era where you could go to the parties, they parents' pills and stuff, put that shit in a bowl. And so she had an addictive personality, and she was always escalating, alcohol, weed, pills, and then eventually, very much so in the 80s, in the 90s, addicted to crack. I don't know whether she thinks she has a mental health issue. I told her that she does. I don't know whether she thinks she does. But definitely she was trying to cope with something. And from what she has told me, she actually had a good upbringing and good parents, and, actually was on track to be like a dentist and this and the other, or a dentist assistant at the very least. And then her life went completely left.
Around like what age you think? Like her 20s?
She was already doing the drinking and stuff when she was like 12, 13. You know what I mean? So it was already.
I mean, what made it go left? For
when she started using crack?
Oh, I thought you were saying if something went left when she got.
No, I'm saying it all went left when she just
went to
the crack was just. Yeah.
It's something about the word crack. This is
something about the word crack is funny.
I mean, like, it's so serious, like crack. You gotta say it serious. Like, yeah, she got the crack. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Sorry.
I just feel like a lot of Generation X had problems with crack addiction.
Yes,
and
they can.
everything. When I feel like
it's hard, man.
Yeah, and they just did it because it was like.
Well, I think my mom would be a boomer, right?
How old is your mama?
I guess she in her 60s. I don't talk to the lady anymore. I forgot a lot of stuff.
Well,
I guess she's in her 60s.
What we at?
What is we? Generation? We
millennials.
We're Y, right? Yeah, we're Y. But that would be considered Generation X. When Generation X be like from like
the boomers would be like probably like my grandma,
like 80s.
So my mom, yeah. My mom would be.
It'd be like I think it would 40 and up.
I don't know. They old. I'm just saying that she was very much a part of the 80s crack epidemic. Is what I'm saying.
A lot of people got
where a lot of people got hooked on it. But she was always headed in that direction.
Yeah, so she was searching for something to.
Right. She was going to do it. Why do I have all this information? I don't know. I have no idea. But when I say, it seemed like everybody around me was doing drugs when I was coming up. Mm-hmm. Like the lady that lived next door to me, like she had all these kids, and like they all was on crack. All of them. Why? Because everybody was the lady across the street from me. Her daughter was on crack. The people on the left, those girls' mom was doing crack, and they do crack together.
And I mean, like in the past, it was a lot of crack. Like for me, it was like that too. Every time everybody was heard, it was somebody addicted to crack. It really was.
But then we gotta wonder, like, how many people had underlying issues
before they took that.
Because I am of like the strong belief that there are a lot more people than they're willing to admit have mental health issues.
Especially back then, you ain't talk about that shit anymore.
No.
Like what?
All types of trauma and then poverty. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so everyone is trying to cope. And so people are not getting treatment. If they go get treatment for the drugs and they don't get treatment for the mental health issue, it's the endless cycle. You're going to go back to using the drugs because you never address the real underlying issue. So I think that's why my mother really never got to where she was supposed to be, because she never got the proper diagnosis. Right. You know what I mean, for the personality disorder.
That's another reason, in my opinion, why you can consider it a disease, because if you think about it, people with mental illness, they go to, therapy often in order to stay. If you addicted to any substances, you gotta constantly go to meetings. You gotta constantly stick to that.
Yeah. She used to take me to the meetings.
So when you consider that, therapy,
going to NA as therapy.
It is therapy.
No, you haven't been to an NA meeting?
It's therapy for them people. You cannot say it's not therapy for them people.
It's supposed to be therapy. It's like therapy.
Half of them motherfuckers is lying.
They can be lying.
You lie to them.
They can be lying. Yes, they can be.
But a therapist, first of all, a therapist is supposed to be trained to pick up on somebody that's not being truthful and that's being manipulative. Okay,
they don't.
I'm saying they're supposed to. Some of them do, some of them don't. Every therapist is not good, just like every doctor is not good. But you go to a NA meeting, and those people are not licensed in anything. Those just regular people. So if you got a room full of people and half of them have mental health issues, whatever you call them, whoever runs the meeting, they're not trained to deal with that. They're not trained to address the trauma that's underneath of the substance abuse problem. You gotta, that's like a person that's an emotional eater, right? You're an emotional eater, you're eating because... Wait, let me finish my thought. You're an emotional eater, you're eating because you got other shit going on. So you go on a diet. It's not going to stick because you didn't deal with the root of what caused you to eat in the first place. That's all I'm saying. You're going to ask me, how do I know that the people that run the NA meetings, they addicts, they goddamn self, and you might get one or two somewhere along the way, but anybody can run their meeting. You could, the pastor can run the meeting. I just want to have a meeting for drug addicts.
You being an addict does not mean you cannot go to school and learn about trauma
therapeutic and therapeutic
get your degree.
Two different things. Therapeutic and therapy is two different things. That's not therapy. NA meeting is not therapy.
Right.
Is you telling your story what happened, you telling your story what happened.
And
But that doesn't mean that
people-
the person that is there is trained to help you deal with it. You have to break down the reasons that led
They
you.
need real therapy.
They need real therapy. We got to break down the reasons that led you to use in the first place.
Well, in order to host an NA meeting, what are the requirements you have to go through in order to do that? Do you just pop up and be like, I want to start hosting NA meetings and curing all the
People
crackheads?
can.
You know what
People
I mean?
can, yes. If I wanted to start hosting meetings, I could.
You can just jump up and say that you don't need no certifications or nothing.
No.
I don't believe it. I don't believe
Bet.
it.
Bet.
I'm not betting because I don't never bet on something.
Yes, you can.
I don't bet on nothing I don't read about. I'm gonna read that up because I don't believe.
Go ahead.
I believe in order to host those types of meetings, you have to be certified in something and have to show some type of hours put in.
No, you just gotta be sober. That's it.
Man,
I know you need a space.
It's professors addicted to crack. Just because you want
Pastor Johnson could be like, I'm hosting meetings for people who have substance abuse issues, and they can do it. They don't need nothing to do it.
You might have to need just like experience in the subject.
I
don't
feel
know
like
if you have to be certified, but I feel like you got to be like a veteran or somebody that.
Exactly, you have to be
I don't know
some sort of
about-
I
degree.
feel like
I
it's not an answer.
And I believe it's an answer. I don't believe it.
I feel like it's not an answer.
I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like meetings help people. Not everybody, not every single person, but I think it helps those people that are addicts. They go to meetings to get some type of to know that they're not alone. I mean, that's with anybody, you know. But like, I don't know. You do need a therapy. I'm not saying it's replacement. I'm just saying I do think meetings are beneficial.
I did not say that. I said that's not therapy. That's not therapy. If you never deal with the root issue, it's not going away. That's it. If you're using drugs because you got raped or you got molested, and me listening to your stories is not enough. I have to deal with the trauma that led to me using it in the first place. But that's what I'm saying. I didn't say don't go. You can go, but you have to combine. All these things have to be combined with therapy.
But there are people who find speaking their truth and speaking out therapeutic.
It's helpful.
That's not what I said. What are y'all not listening to what I'm saying?
You saying that it's not therapy, but you saying it's not therapy. It's basically negating that.
No, I'm
speaking
not.
On it, it's not therapeutic.
No, I'm not. Listen to what I'm saying. I said you can do that, but you have to do the therapy as well.
And they're doing it at the meetings.
That's not therapy. That is not therapy.
Doing it at the meetings.
You cannot work on your childhood issues one meeting a week with strangers that are not trained to deal with your trauma.
You can't say that. It's a lot of people out there
who
are addicts, who are successful addicts, who go to NA. And it works for them.
Yes, I can say that.
You can't be the judge on what's therapeutic for some people.
I didn't say. I'm talking to the ceiling and the wall. I didn't say it wasn't therapeutic. I said that has to be used in combination with going to actual therapy. That's like that's like medication.
And I'm saying
that's like medication. If I'm diabetic and they say I gotta work out, but the working out is not enough, you also need to take this pill. Okay, I could work out, but I'm still not going to get to where I need to be unless I also take the medicine. So you also have to take the medicine pill.
And I'm saying that some people get both at those meetings.
No.
You can't say that. You cannot say that.
Yes,
how can you
say
different individual people?
Because have you ever been to an NA?
Listen.
Listen. No, I'm asking her. I'm asking her because she's
I haven't been to.
So then how can you be so sure?
This is what I'm saying.
How can you be so sure?
This is what I'm saying.
Because I have.
This is what I'm saying. If somebody feels like going and standing in front of the podium and speaking their truth is therapeutic, right? That we all acknowledge that that's therapeutic for some people, right?
Yes.
We all acknowledge that that's therapeutic.
Yes.
Okay. And going to therapy constantly helps people with mental illness, right? If I'm going, that's doing the work. Physically going and physically speaking my truth is doing the work and feel therapeutic to me. So how can you say as an individual to me that going to NA, me physically going to NA, doing the work like you said, me telling the truth, that's therapeutic to me. How can you say that's not therapy?
Because it's not. A therapist is a licensed practitioner. It's a doctor. It's a doctor. You're telling me not to tell people to go to the doctor.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say
you're saying it's a replacement.
I didn't say it was a replacement. I didn't say it was a replacement.
So then I don't understand what the argument is.
I said
I don't understand what the argument is.
The argument is it's therapeutic, and people do get what they need to get out of it.
No,
you might not.
They get some of what they need.
Okay,
they get some of what they need. It needs to go hand in hand. It needs to go. You need to do the work, and I'm saying this because not only as somebody who goes to therapy, not only as somebody who has gone to therapy, not only as somebody who has my own mental health issues, not only as people with bunch of fucking people in my family who have mental health issues, and guess what they need to do? Go to fucking therapy. So, people always try to eliminate their stuff. You have to do your work. So, and there is something that a licensed psychiatrist or psychologist can do for you that you need. That's what they're there for. That's what they went to school for, to help you dig deep and take the steps to heal.
So the people who are addicts and they've been living their life successfully, non-addicted to any substance for a long time, and all they ever went to was NA. How would you say that?
I don't know the reason why they started using.
And it's not about the reason why they started using. It's that they're finding what they need in that.
No, there is something to be said for the reason why somebody started using. Yes.
Listen.
Sometimes
they're going to NA.
I don't agree.
They're going to strictly NA. These successful addicts, And I keep saying it. I'm gonna keep saying. I want to say that because you're never not going to be an addict once you're addicted to drugs. You're never going to be an addict. I'm only saying successful because they're recovering. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for.
You see how she tried to put some crack in my drink?
Child.
But everybody knows drugs are not.
If they're finding everything they need at NA, how are they?
Again, I would have. How are they? For me to answer that question, I would need to know how and why they started using.
Don't make no sense today.
It don't have to make sense. You asking me what I think. You're asking me what I think, and I'm telling you my opinion.
The past is in the past, and they're continuing to find what they need to find at these NA meetings. They're not worried about the past. They're worried about the future. They're finding what they're finding.
Maybe they just didn't have a fucked up childhood.
What if they didn't have a fucked up child?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So you never had a trauma, so you might not need to do that. But we're talking about people with mental health issues. And so anybody with a mental health issue does need to go to therapy, because there's two different things. You go to the meeting to deal with the substance abuse disorder. You go to therapy to deal with the mental health issue. And then they meet in between and work itself out. That's what I'm saying. Somebody who just was like at the party too fucking long and just was, I'm gonna do coke because whatever, everybody else doing it, they might not have to go get there. That's what I'm saying.
So y'all both not really wrong. Y'all just
anyway, I'm a mental health advocate, and I am an advocate for therapy. Most black people need therapy, and a lot of people try to go skirt around going to get therapy by doing everything else under the sun, drinking, smoking, whatever else. Go get therapy. I don't give a fuck what nobody told you.
And if NA is helping you,
go
and NA is helping you, continue to do what you're doing. Good job, okay?
I didn't say don't go to NA.
Good luck on your journey.
I didn't say go to NA, but most of them people with keychains.
Good luck on your journey. I'm happy for you. I'm proud for you. Do you, boo-boo. Do you, boo-boo, and be great on your journey.
No, on a serious note, though, let me say this. On a serious note, because I do have issues with the fact that Tony didn't grow up in a household with somebody who used
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I am saying it.
No, because you don't know. My father was addicted to crack.
You never said that.
I don't either, but that's
you never said that. I am going to take exception to it.
I'm going
to take exception to it.
But why do I have to tell you this?
I didn't say you have to, but I'm saying if I feel like you never experienced what I experienced, yes, I'm going to take exception to it.
You didn't ask me.
Why would I ask you that?
You asked me if I ever been to it.
Why would I ask you that?
You asked me if I ever been to it.
Why would I put you on the spot and ask you that?
You asked me if I, but why would you make that judgment? Why would you make the judgment that I didn't grow up in that type of environment?
Tony, because you ain't never brought it up.
It was never a subject. So for you to sit there and say I never did that, for you to sit there and make that assumption.
Wait, y'all. Wait, y'all.
You make that assumption
because we're real. We friends in real life, right?
Tequila, break it down.
Me and Tequila. Me and Tequila just sat and talked about our experiences with parents who had drug abuse problems 55 million times. Tony ain't never brought that shit.
I did.
Never.
It was never a need to
bring it up.
It was never a need to bring it up. You just brought it up just now. You just put up just now. Did you not just make it a subject? Did you not just make it a subject? Tequila, did she not just make it a subject?
Okay, Tony, listen. Okay, I'm not. This is crazy though. This is what I'm about to say. You have talked about your parents and your family.
It made them seem like the. But go ahead and say what you were saying.
What I was about to say is, Tony, we have talked about our family and stuff like that, and they're being dysfunctional and everything. You have never said anything negative about your family ever. Not saying that we hope or anything like that, but I'm saying when we talk about the drug addiction our parents had, and we kind of like bond with it. You know what I mean? Like, all right, yeah, damn, I went through that too. Damn, I really, and you never, ever have said, damn, I do have experience with that. I kind of understand where you're coming from. Even if you didn't have to go into detail, but I'm just saying you've never once said you had experience with it.
To be
just to finish. And
I just got one thing to say. To be clear, you and your sister have always made a point to say, I don't know nothing about that. Not maybe not them words in particular, but not in particular those words, but basically y'all had some fucked up situation. We had a very loving family, and that was like period. I'm just saying that it's very weird for us all. It's weird for us all of a sudden to now we have this revelation. Because that's not how it's been presented to us.
So can I break it down to y'all once again? There's two things I need to break down. That's the type of person I am and the type of family I come from, okay? All right? The type of person I am, if somebody, my friends, if they're explaining to me, all right, something that is happening into their life, something that's traumatic, and I consider what y'all went through with y'all parents, something that is fucking disgusting. I expect more of parents. I truly do. I expect parents not to do the things that y'all parents do, because I was shown from my parents something completely different. And as a person, y'all already know if we talking, I have two switches. I have conversation switch and I have a listening switch. If I'm listening, that means I'm listening to what y'all got to say. That means I'm paying attention to what y'all got to say. It's not my time to sit there and play my little violin. It's my time to listen to what my friends are saying and acknowledge and see that everybody, every parent don't act like my parents, okay? Now, as for my growing up, my family, I felt like I had a good, upbringing. I felt like my parents did the best that they could. But at a point in time, my father was addicted to drugs. Both of y'all can acknowledge as parents that parents are not perfect.
Right.
My father had that moment. I'm not taking that moment and making it my whole parenting experience from my father. The last time I seen him on drugs, I was about probably like 6 or 7. And me and Ashley were so terrified of him. We were so scared of him. We didn't want nothing to do with my father. Absolutely nothing to do. He was scary. He was accusing my mom of things. He was acting erratic. He was breaking things. He was acting extremely violent and extremely dangerous. And it was something unnatural that I never seen my father in. And I cried to him. I don't tell people this because it's very, very serious to me.
I'm sorry.
And I cried to him. And I told him, I'm scared of you, Daddy. He went away. He came back clean. And that's why I don't talk about it. Because that's not going to be something that's going to overshadow everything he has done to me.
Right.
I'm not going to take that little darkness that he had in his life and make that into something bigger than what it was. So no, I don't speak on it, but it happened. And that's not the person he is. And he showed me that he could be something different. And that's what I said.
But that's good. And that's
so I understand. I completely understand where y'all coming from with your mom and how y'all feel about your situation. But that's not something. It's not the same. It's not the same. My daddy never stole nothing from me. He never scared me like he scared like. But that's why I say
how we feel.
No, I understand how y'all feel. I understand how y'all feel. But y'all both feel totally different feelings for the situation. She feel like it's a disease.
No, I mean in regards to like in other words, your dad did what he needed to do for y'all. Like when you said like this is hurting me, he went and he got himself together. Right. But no matter what we said or did to our parents, they could not do that for us.
And so that's why I don't bring it up. But
you got to be able to talk to us about anything.
But that's not something that was, like I said, it's not something that's traumatic. It's not something that you took over my whole life like it took over your whole life.
We're not saying that.
See, we're not saying that. When I'm saying that, when I say like we've never known about it, we're not saying like you should have told us. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying we had no idea that you went through something.
And but you
know what I mean? And I don't want you to think that just because we went through something crazy that yours don't matter. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want you to ever be like,
I'm not saying that y'all saying that it don't matter. I'm not saying it. What I'm saying is y'all saying that I probably should have brought it up to y'all as friends. And I'm telling y'all that right there was minuscule. That was minuscule in my life. That was not something big that needs to be talked about.
We're not saying it. It's just weird that you've been through something. Right. It's weird that you had an experience that we've been through and it just never came up. Not to say
we wouldn't have looked at your parent any other type of way.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Do you think we would have?
Maybe I'm not explaining it right. I'm not worried about how I'm not worried about how anybody looks.
When somebody else is talking about their trauma, you want them to talk their trauma.
Exactly. But I'm saying that what happened, I don't feel like it equates or like it measures up to what y'all, I don't feel like it should have been like talked about like that. I mean, I could talk about it in like a regular conversation, but in deep conversations like we be having, no, I don't feel like it's something to be talked about because I don't feel like
it measured up.
That's how I feel. Now, I'm not saying y'all felt any type of way.
And it's crazy. Like, you have the right to not say any of this. I'm just saying, for you to bring it up now was
you know what I'm saying? Like,
it was like because you never ever even hinted like, I've been doing something.
No,
you don't have to. I never thought.
I didn't just bring it up. You said you haven't experienced
right? But we wouldn't have known.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. The type of person I am, I
don't know a lot of stuff.
Exactly.
I know you don't. But guess what? But from what you have said, and it's not just you, I know your sister too. So from what y'all both have said,
it always seemed like
I would never.
Like, y'all say the exact same words.
Yeah, y'all say the exact same thing. So to me, I would never even think that. Do you understand what I'm saying? I would think that you had what you were supposed to have, which was
a good family, and everything is good.
No,
what you did,
right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. In other words, I would just think that you couldn't relate to
life. Life is life, and even though like I don't know everything y'all been through, I don't automatically think y'all haven't been through something just because y'all haven't mentioned it. Life is life. Life happens. Little things and little hiccups in life happen in people's lives. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I guess you just kind of, you're a rare person to me. Like some people don't do that. Usually you bond and camaraderie with
like, how do you think that we found out that?
You know what I'm saying? Like, you bring something up like, I went to that store because I had that thing. Like, you do that with a lot of shit, but I guess with trauma stuff, you build up a wall. You do something different. So that's something that
we talk.
Something different. That's different.
Y'all keep saying trauma.
That's traumatic.
That is traumatic.
You saying it's not, but
it's not as traumatic. I said it's not as traumatic as y'all. I keep saying it's not.
I know that, but that's not. But my trauma, her trauma, and your trauma is all different things.
I guess I'm almost tearing up talking about it. No. I'm not saying it's not traumatic, but I've been saying it's not as traumatic. And as horrible,
but it doesn't matter. We're not having a trauma.
Each trauma is.
But you keep saying bonding. I mean, my father never did the same thing that y'all mothers did.
No, you're not understanding.
I'm not understanding because
what we're saying is whether or not he did the same things as our parents, you still had a parent that was an addict at some point in time.
Yes.
So it's very weird for us being how many times we talked about it that you just, not to get into it, that you just never mentioned it.
I don't feel like
that's
you
all.
always have to.
You don't have
you
to.
always have to.
No, you
mention,
don't have to.
And that's
but it's uncommon.
But
you know that's uncommon.
I am going to react.
I don't feel like it's.
I am going to react because I'm finding out about it on a podcast.
No, I'm saying I feel like that is uncommon for a person not to like kind of go.
I don't think it's uncommon because in a regular conversation, I would have told y'all. But if y'all talking about something extramatic,
we do talk about it a lot.
That's not something that's a regular conversation. And I
don't. Maybe that's what it is.
Y'all always together.
We talk about it. We talk about it more than the average Joe talk about crack. We do talk about crack more than we should.
But how often am I
we talk about crack a little more than we should. That's true.
Oh my God.
I feel you though, but I mean, listen,
I hope I did not offend you. Because that's not my intention. Look, she like, bitch, yes.
I mean, like,
listen, because you got to see it from my perspective. Because I'm under the impression from you and the stories that y'all do tell, because y'all do tell stories about your parents. When we tell stories about our parents, they are not the same. And since that never came up, then I'm just like, to me, it was like, you got an opinion about something that you don't know anything about. So that's how I was taking it. That would be like a white person trying to tell me about being black. I'm like, you can't understand if you're not a child of an addict. You get what I'm saying? That's how
I completely understand it. But it was an assumption.
It was an assumption, but it was an educated assumption based on the information that I've been given previously.
So let's just move. Can we?
Yes.
Come on.
Listen, ain't none of this scripted. The shit ain't scripted.
I was supposed to say some shit too. I had my stuff in the back of my head. Like, I had some crack stories.
I didn't even get to my crack story.
We done went
way over. We done had technical difficulties and everything. We apologize for the technical difficulties. Our device. No, I think it was pressing the power button. It was pressing the power button. But we back and we better, so whatever. I still love you, Tony. You ain't gotta love me right now. You can love me later. Anyway, we're gonna move on to our In the Box segment.
Inside the box.
I'm sorry, shit. Look, I can't even fucking talk now. Shit, inside the box, child. We in the box, inside the box. I need to put some look in this goddamn glass, y'all.
I don't need nothing else. I gotta drive. No, and I already done smoked before I came.
So look, she's spilling stuff. Sorry about that.
Listen, so let's get into the inside the box.
Don't say y'all need to pay for this episode, okay? This is y'all. We need some money for this.
So this segment, I'm gonna be doing a 3-part series on BDSM. Can you put up that poster? Yes, BDSM. The first segment is going to be on bondage and discipline. That's today's episode. The next one is going to be on dominance and submission. And the final episode is going to be on sadism and masochism. So let's get into bondage and discipline. So bondage is the practice of consensually tying, binding, or restraining a partner for erotic, aesthetic, or sensory stimulation, which is applying stimuli to a body part for a certain response in the brain. We'll get into that later. Or punishment. Bondage can be done with a rope, tape, plaster, or medical wrap, or multiple other things. Whatever you can find a wrap a person in, you can probably use for bondage. Usually the restraining is done by a dom or the dominant partner, and the sub or submissive partner is being tied up. So some people do bondage for different reasons in BDSM. Sometimes it could be, I'm just going to talk about 2. Decorative bondage is the restraining partner is bound by for a decorative purpose or to be used as an aesthetic object. So just keep up the picture of the bondage. So this is this is decorative bondage. So this person is I found it very pretty.
Isn't it? Isn't it called something with begin with an S or something?
It is called but yes, it's called something. So this is a black woman. They use it for purposes of like taking photographs, and sometimes they use it. They type it for like furniture and like you're like a centerpiece, or like a art gallery, things like that. It's actually, I find it very pretty. Decorative bondage is cute.
Yeah,
it's very cute. Like it's not really used for any other purpose except for just looking cute, looking pretty, and aesthetically pleasing.
If you got pee though, you fucked up.
And the other bonds I'm talking about is torture bondage. The restrained partner is purposely bound in an uncomfortable position, or painful position, and is a punishment or form of discipline. So torture bondage, you can be put in various positions that are very uncomfortable. Sometimes your leg and your arm could be tied together, like in a weird position to where like it hurts and it's uncomfortable and stuff like that. Some people like that because it's a sadomasochistic type of situation, so it hurts and it's painful, so it gives the person that's the dom pleasure in doing it. It's very interesting. So we're going to talk about an extreme form of bondage, which is mummification. Mummification is an advanced form of bondage in which a person is partially or fully cocooned in materials such as plastic wrap, body bag, bondage tape, duct tape, rope, or medical wrap. A person can be mummified for a short period of time or a long period of time. Mummification is used to provide complete sensory deprivation over the entire body, or some skin can be left out for additional sensory play. So can you put up the picture of the mummification? So this is this is a picture of somebody completely mummified with like their lips out and stuff. For breathing, so they can breathe. Suffocate, die. Now, I mean, like, there are other mummification ones where their genitals are exposed, so you can completely sensory deprivate their whole body, so they can't feel anything, and they're like their senses messed up. So like when you have sex with them or give them like head or something, they're like super sensitive and super like
they wrap themselves up. So
no,
the only thing they
not wrapped up. No, they're not wrapped. They don't wrap themselves up. The dom wraps them up. So their dominant partner will wrap them up completely. Like this one, I don't even see his lips out. So I'm trying to figure out how he's surviving.
Like he taped
some people got like little nose holes.
He got duct tape on it.
Yes, and sometimes they will. This is combined with like an encasement fetish, where they like to be mummified and then put into a coffin, and they get like that's complete sensory deprivation. Like they can't hear or anything, and it gives them a little bit of excitement. Like especially for the dom gets really excited over this. I don't know, because it's sadist. You know, you're a sadist. You get sexually aroused over the pain and complete control of another person.
I could not.
It looks very scary. Some people really do have a problem with this because, like, people that's claustrophobic really have like, panic attacks and stuff. It's really dangerous. But
it's like choking somebody else.
Yeah, right? But BDSM is a power exchange dynamic anyway. So giving up complete control of everything that you can do and everything that you want to do, so somebody else can control your whole life, is something that is arousing and pleasing to people. It's very interesting. And these are called scenes. Like when they do this mummification or they do these type of dynamics, it's the scene. It's they get into a different headspace in order to achieve this thing. So they have to be in you got to imagine mentally what type of headspace you have to be in to be completely mummified. Like you got to be almost like numb. Like I don't even know or feel anything. And that's the headspace they get into in order to get to do this. Now, some people use mummification as a form of discipline. Discipline is a way of to help train a submissive partner. Discipline is essentially punishment for rule-breaking, bad attitude, or minor infractions. So, obviously, if you are in a BDSM relationship and you're the sub and you're being a brat, so that's a sub term or whatever. You're a brat. You're being, you know, your dom told you to go clean the kitchen and you miss a spot and he finds out, so you now gotta get punished or disciplined because you didn't follow the rules. Sometimes you get mummified. Sometimes, but I mean, it depends on the infraction. So if missing a spot might be you get a spanking. Yeah, because there's rules to this. It's very serious. I'll get into that probably in the next one. Rules is very important. So if you have a expectation, you have to do this. So you got to come in every day and put on a diaper. You know what I'm saying? Let's say this is a rule. You got to get out of your grown-up clothes, put a diaper on. Because Dom said that, right? And you come in, you put a diaper on, you get a spanking. That's a minor infraction. You put a diaper on, you get a little pop on the butt over the knee. You know what I mean? Okay, fine. Say you do it all week, and now the Dom is upset. You get mummified, you're getting a beating. Serious. It's serious. They're like a parent. That's what discipline is kind of. It's like the disciplinary parent. You messed up. You did something you wasn't supposed to, so you have to get disciplined. The discipline is just a little interesting. So it could be physical. The type of punishment could be physical. You can just get a spanking, a patting, a little caning. Get hit with a cane. You know what I'm saying? Get a little.
So we going back to slavery. You get what?
Yeah. Get a little pop.
What if you get robbed?
What?
Like, I mean, like.
So when you come home, you done got robbed.
No, like you mummified and shit.
You know what?
Jessica, you know what? Can you put one of them mummification pictures back up there again, please?
Yeah.
Hell no!
You fucked up. And it's so tight and precise. Like,
so what is that they're wrapped up in?
That looks like cellophane or something. Like some you know how like you wrap furniture in?
Yeah, that's like some Dexter type shit.
Yeah. Yep. They're very interesting.
So do they have sex with them while they're mummified?
Sometimes. It depends on what was discussed. Some people, they just get mummified and then they do little things like they'll keep one body part out and like tickle your feet. Or like they do, they're trying to do something to your senses. You know what I mean?
I know. I don't like people tickling.
Yes, they will tickle you. It's like sometimes a form of torture. They'll torture you a little bit. They'll use a feather and like put it on your ear, or like it's really torture. But I think what happens is because the rest of your body is so desensitized that it's like enhanced or something in those spots. Like I've seen one where it was a woman, she was the dom, and she would mummify her subs who were men, but she would leave their penis out. And she would like either ride it or, suck on it or something like that, and then spank them, or, like she would do a bunch of things and they could not do anything. Like I can't move around. I could do whatever I want to do. That's a little bit interesting. Like when you think about it, I don't like the mummification part, but like the tying up or like so you can't touch me type of thing, that's kind of hot. I don't know. I kind of like that.
I don't like the mummification.
But the mummification is a little extreme. It's a little extreme.
I don't like it either.
And it's actually pretty dangerous.
That nigga look like he had on duct tape. And what if you
But they could be the
I'm hairy. You're not raping me. Because once you take that shit off, it's my hair coming off.
Yes. Now, another form of punishment is the bondage, like we've been talking, in comfortable position. And some of them, they'll put them in cages called bondage cages. They'll make them kneel in the cage as a form of punishment. You put that up. So this yeah. So he's being punished, or this could be used for a photo, but. Honestly, they have bondage cages to where they will be tied up or put in a position, and they got to stay in there for however long they
Would
feel like
you be in the cage?
I think I'm too big for a cage. I think I'll get more uncomfortable more than the average Joe, but a cage,
a different type of cage.
Yeah. I could do a cage. I don't think so. I don't like
Tyrese said that.
I don't really like being disciplined like that in regular life. Like you can't tell me what to do.
I'm not getting in no fucking cage. I look like a dog.
Like you could like spanking and stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't really like the thought if you got to do something.
I don't mind the spankings, but like they spank you for you to bruise.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't like that.
But I mean, not necessarily. It really depends on what you discuss. If you have a certain type of, I don't want bruises. I don't want this. You can't hit me here. It's a lot of rules. The subs have a lot of control, honestly, in what they allow their dom to do. But I mean, they also have like mental bondage where they have you kneel on a certain amount of for a certain amount of time on uncooked rice. So you can do stuff to be mentally like, yes, that hurts, but like if you move, then you got to start over and you got to add more rice.
That definitely sounds like abuse.
It is, but it's because it's sadism. It's meant to. I'm doing this because you did something wrong, so you need to suffer for it. And they just take pleasure in that happening, period.
Do you know why people would be drawn to this type of sexual foreplay, I guess?
Yes. So people engage in bondage feel intense sexual arousal and pleasure in being wrapped. They feel a strong connection of trust towards their dom. Some subs have reported feeling of being immortal which is associated with mummification in ancient Egypt. So I guess they associate themselves as being like, I'm being wrapped like ancients did. You know, the ancient people did. So I don't know, I think that's a headspace thing. Right. I think that's a headspace thing they put themselves in though. Like, all right, if you wrap me up, and they, like I said, they like to be put in.
Dave said he ain't wasted a saran wrap.
I'm trying to figure out how they get it so straight.
First of all, how many boxes of saran wrap do you need?
You know how hard it is to saran a damn plate?
Wait, Dave, so Dave, you're not gonna let me wrap you up in saran wrap and tickle your feet? You can tell me later in the inbox.
Some subs, the feeling of being completely helpless and under the control of a dom's mercy is almost euphoric. Some people have that submissive personality in which they feel like, I want to do something that gives you pleasure. So, you know, sometimes maybe they don't necessarily like being raped, but they know that their dom loves it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, I'll do it for tonight or for the scene.
Yeah.
Right. And they feel, and then having them feel good and be in control, which they like, kind of helps them feel like, okay, I made you feel good, you know. And for dom, the willing partner to completely control is arousing. So that's just all the motivation that they need to do it. The doms really, they don't really need much. You know, I like controlling you, so this is why I do it. And some of them don't. All of them don't do it for sexual purposes. Like a lot of them do it just because of the control and just knowing that I have control of your life right now. I feel like a lot of them could be serial killers, but that's just my
serial killers. Yes. Yeah, they could be.
That's how I feel. But I mean, you know,
I don't think so. I don't think if they're in a relationship, I don't think they'd be serial killers.
I mean, no,
serial killers just go out and just fucking do it. You ain't gonna know until.
But they get sexually aroused from it a lot of the time. I don't think but I feel like they could be. If they could be. They couldn't be. I'm sorry. Not if y'all into this, I'm not gonna see y'all serial killers. But some serial killers do get sexually aroused on doing this stuff to people.
Oh yeah, they do. But I ain't never heard.
There are some safety tips. I gotta tell y'all some safety tips.
There's a lot of serial killers that was in relationships.
No, I'm not saying in relationships. I'm talking about in BDSM relationships.
No, they probably.
Because I was about to say if they were, they
probably trying to hide it.
Yeah, if they were, then they'd be getting fulfilled. But
in our next segment, I will tell you about how dom and subs, how they react, like why they get into this lifestyle, and how they feel being in one, like how mentally. But I do want to get some safety tips before I go, because if you're gonna be mummified, you're gonna let somebody mummify, you need to know what to do in this situation. Okay, now
I think it's a safe bet that I won't be letting anybody mummify me. Okay,
now some things to pay attention to: circulation. Okay. Circulation needs to be supervised, and it may be necessary to massage the skin through the wrap to maintain circulation. So while you wrap, you might have to go around, massage their legs, because sometimes they have them in there for hours, wrap for hours. Like they do some. It's really serious.
You
gotta massage, you gotta rub, you gotta make sure everything is.
Yes, that's on the list. Air holes.
Yeah, for sure. Air holes. Everything should be. You're supposed to be if it's not for punishment purposes, you're supposed to be in a position that's comfortable, where you can hold your body weight and everything. That's why a lot of them are flat. You should not really be in a hanging situation or nothing that like really can hurt you, but unless you're being punished and you consent to that.
Well, a couple of the first bitches was hanging.
Well, that was more like photography, so they probably just up there for a minute.
But they do that hanging.
They do, but it's usually punishment or like
the rope play.
Yeah, rope play is pretty for some reason. I find rope play pretty. Sometimes I have seen role play where like the boobs look crazy, so where it's like it look like they suffocating and they just look like they right around the boob, and I just found that traumatizing.
Would you be tied up?
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah. Would you hang?
No,
I can't.
I mean, it depends. I hang. I'm lying.
I don't think I would.
You know what? Because I started thinking about like I was watching that show Taboo, and the bitch had the loops in her bed.
That's crazy. I can't do that.
No,
I mean, not crazy.
I know what you're talking about.
That rings. Oh my god!
So they put the metal rings in them and have them hanging.
We ain't got
that's
well, that was another topic, but I wouldn't.
That's extreme. That's really, I can't imagine. But that's also people that likes being penetrated with stuff and all that. I can't do that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic that
yeah, I'll get into it if y'all want to learn about it. I can.
Would you like a metal ring piercing your skin and then be hung from it like a rack of lamb? Tell us in the comments.
Scary. So circulation is one. Safety shears. Make sure you have some safety shears for emergency.
How the fuck you gonna get out?
The dom will have to do it.
Shears.
This is all for the dom, though. The dom has to do this because obviously you can't do anything. The dom has to do this as all safety precautions. Circulation. You still have to take care of the person. You can't just leave them there unless you think being punished. I don't know. Safety shears. The person being mummified may become dehydrated due to excess sweating during mummification. Process. During the mummification process. So keep blankets and water close when unwrapping.
That's too much.
When you're getting wrapped, imagine being wrapped in plastic and just being like naked, because they're usually butt naked.
That's what I'm saying.
You're going to sweat to death. Like you're going to be you're going to be sweating.
You got
so you're going to be behind I don't even think you'll be able to feel it. Through all that, that's layers. They ain't even like one layer.
It can't hurt to have the air on.
No, yeah, true. So you gotta make sure you keep blankets and water nearby for when you unwrap. And always have, this is something that I put, always have a safe word or a gesture or something established before any BDSM scenes, and always discuss limits. So if you're going to do a mummification bondage scene and you don't want your fingers, in, that's something you should talk about before you get into the process of mummification. I don't want my hands tied, or I don't want them mummified. I don't want my nose and my face. I need this out, stuff like that. Make sure that you have limits and you discuss them beforehand. And I feel like maybe if, during that time, it's okay. If I'm ready to get out, I'm going, do this. I'm gonna snap my fingers or something. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever's out or whatever you have, you make sure that you have safety words or gestures or something. Because stuff can go left real bad, or you might have to take a shit in the middle of nowhere. And you need to make sure.
Ooh, shit in the plastic.
Shit, I got to shit. Get me out of here. That's how I feel, I feel about that.
I think about somebody vomiting and their mouth is wrapped up and them choking on their vomit and all types of
so many horrible things in this that could possibly happen. And I think that's almost a part of the excitement of it all for them. They feel like they have to give somebody complete control and trust them like wholeheartedly in order to do this. I don't trust nobody that much. I don't care. Listen,
don't trust nobody.
And I'm married. Okay. I trust them. I just don't trust them to be attention to detail in that sense. Like if I'm mummified, how do you know that this gesture ain't me get me the fuck up out of here?
He be like, I had them.
He gonna play the fucking game, forget all about it. Okay? He be playing the PS5 and be like, "Here's somebody upstairs. Don't even know I'm over there dying." See, nope, I don't trust it. I mean, it restricts your breathing a lot. Like stuff, like it's a lot of stuff you got to factor in. So this is to me an extreme form of bondage. So if you into this, cool. Be safe out there. But honestly, I feel like I probably would. I'll do some rope. A little rope. You could tie me up a little bit. I think I would.
It's called shibari or something like that.
It's called something. It's a Japanese rope tie. I know what you're talking about, and I completely forgot to write the name of it down.
I think that's what it is because I'm interested in it.
I like the artistic part of it. I actually like the pictures I saw of them, like as the photography and decorative bondage. That looks pretty cool. The guy, what's the guy name from Hannibal? Did you see his picture? He looked pretty. He was completely roped. He got tied up in rope stuff. It looked pretty cool.
You talking about the one who played Hannibal, right? Yeah.
It looks oddly.
Who are you talking about?
The guy from Hannibal, the older guy. Hannibal.
The one that played Hannibal.
Not that old. The show Hannibal. I'm sorry. The show. It's a show called Hannibal. And they had a picture of the main character, not old as Lorraine. What's the fuck? I know what you're talking about. No, not him.
Not him.
Clarice, not him. No. I said Lorraine. No. But yeah, no.
Is she picturing it?
You is, and he probably looked crazy. He looked crazy. What? No.
I just keep picturing that little man ripped up and just nothing but his dick out.
Yes. I wish I had my phone because I had so many pictures on my phone to show y'all. Yo, it looks just what y'all think. I mean, like everything but the ball sack and the penis is just completely red and you don't see anything. And the girl just like,
shut up. Was your picture next to it?
You can't put that on here.
I can't put it on here. I was going to show y'all.
No,
I had it on my phone to show y'all the
Why
picture.
she posted?
Because she was the dom and they was in like a little scene and it just hilarious. Yes. I said, oh my goodness. Like, yes. And it looks foolish. Like who? But this is like who thought of it?
Who was just one day sitting around and was like, "Bitch, you know what?
I think
Get the saran wrap."
You don't fuck up. Go get the wrap. Go get the wrap.
So what I'm about to do is I'm gonna wrap your whole body, and I'm gonna just leave your dick out.
Yeah. Child, it's a history. It's a.
I mean, I know it is. I want to know.
It is a history of it. Like
what the origin was like.
Yeah. Somebody trifling out there was like, you look real good wrapped up in some cellophane. And I didn't even show the picture of the plaster. They had one of these completely in plaster.
Yes, you going too fucking far. You going too fucking far.
No, I mean like
they
plaster and put a hole, a tube for the hole in the mouth.
You're not about to
so their whole entire body was covered in like when you get a cast. That shit.
Yeah. Hell no. So you gotta saw me out of there, bitch.
You really going too far to play the itch.
And then breathe through a straw.
Yeah. How are they going to massage your skin?
I don't know. I don't know how they was going to get
I don't see. My thing is, I'm not willing to die for an orgasm.
And they don't come. They not coming. They not doing shit. Now, no. I have seen some. No, because it just
milking table. What's
yeah.
Dave, now I'm questioning you. I'm questioning you because you know what a milk. What's a milking table? Tell me.
It's like they milk you.
I would assume
they milk who?
I would assume that
they milk the penis.
They milk the penis. Are you literally laying on the table?
Yes.
So you laying on the table? Is a hole in the table?
I believe so. Let me see your phone.
So we
can tell you. Is that the one like they just you just laying flat on the table and they just come under there and milk?
Wait a minute now, goddamn it!
You know what? You got
now. I got questions. So you're laying on the table.
Oh, that's the plaster one. Child. Oh my God, they had one with Did I send you the one with the Spider-Man?
That's really a mummification.
Yeah, they had a Spider-Man one. They painted the whole outside Spider-Man.
Who cares? That's crazy.
It was plaster. No, he was plaster, and they just painted the outside.
Oh, this is an animation. I was about to say she in it.
So they just like jerking you off on the table through the hole with the penis?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a hand job, I guess. Y'all can't see this picture, but
yeah,
that mattress did look pissy. Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
Yeah. Dick in a box. Yeah, y'all.
Is he peeing on this one?
Y'all. So we looking at pictures of dicks and holes and tables and shit. That's a milking table. So you just put your dick in a hole and somebody is underneath the table milking it.
What is she doing?
She is. Are you serious?
What the fuck?
That's all that milking. I'm trying to hit. Upside down.
That's too much work for an orgasm.
Damn.
This chick is doing a headstand to put her ass to the dick that's coming through the table. Mm-hmm. You gonna fuck around and crack your goddamn nut.
True. Why is his stuff
trying to be cute?
Why is it so big? You need to drink some water.
He don't drink water.
You need to drink some water down this shit.
Is that, I mean, really, what is I don't understand. I'm not working that hard. I'm going to let you know right now, I'm not working that hard. I'm not doing a handstand to bring my ass to your dick. I'm not doing it. No.
Listen, people like what they like. It's very interesting.
Yeah, you can do that. I'm not doing that. So when
I'm not being honest.
So when I crack my nut, are you going to pay for my therapy? That's what I want to know. I'm very confused.
Oh, yeah, child. Mummification is interesting.
Y'all be safe out there, okay? That's all I want to say. Y'all be safe.
Be safe.
Don't be using all the saran wrap. Make sure you leave an air hole. I don't want to see none of y'all on the news. If I come in your house and I see a table with a hole in it,
I know what it's for. We know what it's for.
I got questions.
I'll do a milking table.
You gonna put Tyree on the table?
I'll do a milking table. I'll be underneath.
We already know what your arts and crafts is about to be. Shit.